It is Let's Talk Arts and Entertainment on WMAY. I'm Kevin Hart. Well, there continues to be no shortage of theater and arts to be a part of here in the community. Auditions today, tomorrow, and Thursday for Wicked Waltz, The Boston Dip in 1871, Springfield, directed by Dennis Thread, produced through the Edwards Place by Sarah Adams. Here to talk with me about it is both Dennis and Sarah. How are you guys?
Great.
Hi.
How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Great. Glad to be here.
All right, thanks. Glad you guys are here. So Dennis, I'm gonna start off with you for a second. With is you the director of the show and adapted most of it for the stage, or I guess the screen. Technically, it's virtual. Why was this waltz wicked?
Well, okay. First, I'll give you the Hollywood pitch, which I think will kind of maybe set the stage. Think Footloose in hoop skirts.
Okay.
Or Louisa May Alcott's Little Women meets the Marx Brothers. We've taken this screwball comedy from about 1873. We kind of expanded it, kind of blew it up, turned it inside out. It's all these crazy comic characters. They're almost stereotypes, but each has a touch of humanity. And it's funny, it's fast-paced, but it's got some depth to it as well. And we'll be shooting it like a film. It's all Zoom, it's all pre-recorded. Shooting at the film that way, we keep rehearsals manageable at a short period of time. We'll be trying different things with Zoom, lots of images, some film footage, all kinds of crazy things thrown in there. Why was the waltz wicked?
Yes.
Well, we all think it's like that syrupy, Lawrence Welk, kind of stuff. The waltz has been around for, almost 200 years. And if you've ever danced with a really good partner, and it's very intimate and very powerful, the waltz, it's the same way it was back then. They thought it was kind of dangerous because, oh my God, that couples touched each other in these ways. It was dancing in general was very, very popular, all of it from the top of the society all the way down. But a lot of people thought dance was wicked, and it was banned over and over again. The waltz evolved over time. The second thing in the title is the Boston Dip.
Yes.
Okay, what's the Boston Dip? Okay, go back with me. It's America after the Civil War, and we're getting industrialized. More and more people are living in towns and cities and in the country. We wanted to be a modern nation, not like Europe, but better. Right. And after the Civil War, Americans went on this vast self-improvement binge. It was a big market for self-help books on etiquette and dancing, because dancing was a big social thing. It was how you met your partner. It was at dances, whether it was a barn raising or a ballroom dance in Boston. Americans had grown up on the frontier. We had terrible manners, and we knew it. In some ways, we were proud of it, but we knew we could do better. So they were looking for ways to improve themselves. And again, the social thing was very big. So these books of etiquette and how to deal with a dance and how to be in a ballroom were just huge. Now, this may sound crazy. So you had this dance instructor in Boston, and he was looking for notoriety. This is 1870, remember. So he created this dance called the Boston Dip. It's a regular waltz, but there's this deep knee-bending movement. It made the physical connection between the dancers even more well-connected.
All right.
Probably holding on for dear life, but it looked naughty. And it's a pop culture moment. This dip was racy and was condemned. And overnight, it became everywhere. How fast? Well, he introduced it in December of 1870. By the spring, dance teachers were teaching it all over the country. This is, it was a phenomenon. So we took this old script called the Boston Dip. There's hardly any dance in it at all, but it's all about dance. Parental identity, disapproval, mistaken identity. There's an ambitious dance teacher. There's two sisters who are remarkably modern. They seem less like characters from the Victorian age and more like from the Roaring '20s or even today. They're very self-possessed. So we expanded it, we adapted it, and we set it in Springfield. It's historical. I mean, all this stuff actually happened. It fits into the whole Lincoln thing. The Edwards house is close in time. And since it is, for the Edwards place, historical accuracy is important, or maybe hysterical accuracy in the case of
Right.
So, we brought in different texts from the period and earlier that talk about why dancing was so important, why it was banned, different, things that were going on at the time, social change, women's rights, all kinds of things like that. So the play is about not just the dance, but also society as a whole. It's not an overtly political piece, but, everything at one point or another touches on our culture and how we fit into it and how we adapt to it.
That's great. That is super cool. That is, that's one of those things you always you got to think about all those new dances, but new things in general. People, those were always looked on as these odd things, and it's so interesting. You talked a little bit about being like sort of like Footloose or something, but I mean it very interesting. Sounds like, and you named some of the characters there. The dance instructor, the two sisters are I'm sure similar. If we're talking Footloose, maybe similar to Kevin Bacon trying to rile up the school a little bit. School dance.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So that's different characters people can look out for there. So the audition process, it is today, tomorrow, and Thursday. How are you doing auditions for these various roles?
Well, we're doing a sign up, and you can get the sign up on the link. I think, Sarah, it's easier to get it on the Edwards or the Art Association webpage, and then it's also on Facebook, right?
Yeah, so you can go to edwardsplace.org. And go to our upcoming events page on there, or you can go on our Facebook page, but we also put it in the Springfield Area Community Theater page as well.
And I want to make this easy for people. So if you can't make the signups, we're not casting a meeting. We're trying to get it done in the next week for sure. So they're also on there is my information. So if you want to if we need to set up an audition time outside of that schedule, we'll do our very best to accommodate. We want to see everybody.
Great. That's good.
We want to be flexible.
Yes. Yeah. I was just going to say, a lot of chances for people to get in there and audition. You can work around, like Dennis said, work around the schedule a little bit, try out for this show, all these wonderful characters. And this is being put on by the Edwards Play. So I'd like to talk a little bit with Sarah now, Sarah Adams, who is producing this show, also with Edwards Place. If you can just talk a little bit about putting on these shows and why you guys do it and why it's important.
Yeah, sure. I'm the curator at Edwards Place, and one of the things that we try to do is bring historical things to the public in an interesting way. So one thing that we've done for a really long time, but had kind of taken a break over the pandemic with, is producing plays. And a lot of the times we actually had produced original plays, but getting back into it, I really wanted to go back and do something from history to show people that people have been people, for a long time. And people always think about the Edwards family or people from the 19th century as being really different from us. And honestly, yeah, they didn't have the internet. They didn't have the things that we have, but they were very similar to the way that we are now. And we're just trying to allow people to understand that they do have a lot in common with maybe the Edwards family, maybe, the family in the Boston Dip play. But it's just bringing that a little towards people to help them connect with history.
Yeah, it really, it is one of those things. And, it isn't just like we talk a little bit about the Footloose parallel, but I mean, there are so many of those stories, historical accounts. You read how people acted, the sort of art that they made, and you're like, wow, it's like, yeah, that, yes, the technology changes over time. The years go by, but I mean, people are people, and how they react with each other and in different situations. I mean, it really, it feels like this is probably a show where if you watch it or you're part of it, you will see a character and you'll be like, this is either like me or this is like somebody I know, and it's going to be. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's going to be very, lots of historical, lots of historical things in it, as well as a lot of humor, like you said, hysterically.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, it really, this one act play that we build it all around is this bang, 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 bang. It's just keeps rolling and rolling, and every minute or two, it's another kind of absurd situation that comes up, and it's really quite good. I wanted to talk briefly about our process, what people can expect. Now, a lot of my background is in film and video. So since it's being done on Zoom and we're going to be pre-recording the whole thing, we're actually going to put it together like a little movie. So in terms of rehearsal, for example, as I said, we have these we put into this, that there are a lot of transition moments, and some of those are going to be texts, from all kinds of different people, Lord Byron, Goethe, the Pope, all these different people who were weighing in on dance during the 19th century. But there'll also be some visual things in there. So, a lot of it, it's going to be visually rich in terms of a Zoom product. But that also allows us to kind of take individual sections in the script and do them kind of discreetly, like you'd shoot a movie. So that's the process we're going to be getting into. It may be a little unusual for some people, but I've done it a lot. I know how to work with actors to get them comfortable with this approach, as opposed to, we have to rehearse and present a whole act, that's 40 minutes long. No, we'll shoot 3 minutes, and then we'll shoot another 2 minutes, and it'll be like that. So it should be a fun process for people. And we'll all do this all remotely, of course. It's not, everybody will be, in their own Zoom world.
Cool. That's great. Yeah. And that should be, there's a lot of performances where, like you said, and even virtual performances, you just, do them all the way through like you would a show on stage or whatever. But yeah, no, you just, like you said, one scene at a time, one moment at a time. So that is great. So if people want to try out for this show today, tomorrow, and Thursday, where can they go and how can they get in contact with you if need be?
Sarah, once again.
Right. So you can go to our website, edwardsplace.org /upcoming-events, or you can just click on events when you get on edwardsplace.org. You can go on our Facebook at Edwards Place Historic House, or you can go on the Springfield Area Community Theater page. Or actually, Dennis, I know you've put your email forward and your phone number. I guess they can contact you directly as well if they can't make it. Absolutely. And my email and phone number are on the casting notices. You may have to scroll down to the bottom to find it, but it's there.
All right, awesome. Well, that is what you will need to try out for The Wicked Waltz, The Boston Dip in 1871 Springfield. Definitely going to be a funny time, a good play. Excited to see where all this goes. Dennis, Sarah, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be talking again sometime soon.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is Let's Talk Arts and Entertainment on WMAY.